You're listening to Tuff City Radio, 99.5 CIMM in Ucluelet and 90.1 CHMZ in Tofino, West Coast Radio. That is a true story. Hey, everybody, how's it going? 10 o'clock. Thank you, Luke. He's going to be back and hanging out throughout the course of the day. As well, I have guests in the studio today. We're going to get into a conversation I'm excited to have. Brooke Wood, the manager of community initiatives at the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust, and Jesse Bettman, Leadership Vancouver Island alumni and the current general manager of Ocean Village, which I love. Welcome. Thanks. Hi.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
I've been talking about a lot of initiatives that you're a part of. It's very exciting.
I'm a busy woman.
I know. I love talking about the new building that's coming, and things are good. Everything's rolling.
Everything's rolling. It is grant season, so probably my busiest time of year. Right. But having a lot of fun with that. I got to meet with the Nitchalneth Language Committee yesterday.
Oh, that's great.
Which is always a blessing and so much knowledge, and just we have elders and super language champions that come and they review the proposals, and I just learn and learn and learn and listen.
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
Always learning. I'm still doing my best to learn as much as I can, but boy, I need a lot of help, which is, I'm grateful for the grants too. Let's get into Leadership Vancouver Island. I'm excited about this. What exactly is Leadership Vancouver Island?
Leadership Vancouver Island is a community-focused, values-based leadership development program. The goal is to inspire and build capacity for outstanding leadership, learning, and service. So we've been running this program here on the coast for 12 years. Pretty exciting. We have almost 100 alumni that have now taken part of it.
Wow.
And it's different than any leadership program than you're a part of, because you learn not only business leadership and government leadership, but also hereditary leadership and elected official leadership. So it's a really broad program, but then you also learn how to lead yourself. And that's the key to the program.
How did it begin? What are the origins? Who was it?
It was Gord Johns, Tammy Dorward, Kathy Thick, Rebecca Hurwitz. I'm probably forgetting a few names, but they kind of really wanted to start bringing higher education to the West Coast. They wanted people to be able to stay at home, but move forward in their careers, move forward in their passions, and feel fulfilled. And so we were striving to get some local programs that would offer university credits, and this was the one that came up. And Ricardo Manmahan was also key to that at the very beginning as well. And he worked for free for a year to make this program happen.
I love that guy. That's leadership.
That's leadership.
How did you determine in the beginning? I'm going to jump around a bit. How did you determine the curriculum? Did you work with Royal Roads or something like that? Or
it's a program that started at Vancouver Island University.
Okay.
So the dean is Patrick Ross, former dean, and so he was instrumental in allowing us to have the program up here. So there's an LVI East Coast and there's an LVI West Coast. So we're a chapter of that Leadership Vancouver Island program. So
all the way East Coast?
Just Nanaimo, Ladysmith, and sometimes Cowichan is as far as they go. There's a separate program through Royal Roads actually in Victoria as well.
And so is it possible to get credit, university credit?
Yeah, you get 6 elective credits from VIU that you can use for, I want to give a shining example. Suzanne Williams started this and used these credits to help get her business degree. And many other local people have been able to use this and leverage and have them move up in their positions and move up in their careers. Sam Hackett, also an LVI alumni that used this well. And of course, Jesse, who's sitting here.
You don't have to be going to school, though, and you don't need to be in an education program or university or anything to do this.
Absolutely not. You just have to be a person that wants to do better for themselves.
That's awesome. Is it academic? How?
It's both. It's academic. So there's the learning, there's conflict resolution, there's project management skills, there's public speaking skills, but there's a lot of internal stuff that happens throughout the program as well. So it's a bit of both. And so we really try and have people understand that, you're not just you're going to come out with hard skills, but sometimes the best thing that come out of it are the soft skills.
How is it that you have come to be? Why does the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust facilitate this program?
LVI helps the CBT achieve its vision by growing capacity in local communities, facilitating cross-culture community building, and supporting and strengthening traditional knowledge. So one prime example for me that I really want to highlight, I took the program as a student when I was a new mom. And I would say I took it to be a better parent. And so it really is a broad spectrum. It taught me how to be calm, how to listen, and how to do better and think of that. So I took it to be a better parent. And then in 2017, the CBT coordinated a regional gathering around Canada's 150th as not a celebration. And that was done with LVI alumni. So I would say that's why the CBT did it. Networking. Right. We had people in every community that wanted to make all of our communities successful and heal and take part in reconciliation together.
How is it funded?
You pay.
How much is it?
It's $2,000. Yeah. And so we have been really, really lucky over the years to have continual support from local businesses. Ocean Village, Long Beach Lodge, Black Rock, Tofino and Ucluelet Co-op. District of Tofino has supported over the years. So they often will have a professional development budget and will pay for their participation of their staff member. We have worked with NetP to have scholarships, and the nation's governments have often paid for their staff to go. And a few years ago, we had an amazing donor that provided scholarships, which was so amazing. And so we had, Michelle Hall took part and Didi Monet, so private individuals that didn't have a sponsor. And that was super cool.
Are there bursaries? Could someone apply for that?
We don't have funding right now, but we kind of wanted to say on the radio if anyone wants to support anyone else to take that journey. And we think it's really important. I'm working closely with both Ucluelet and Tofino Chambers of Commerce. And just, there's Go2HR. There are supports out there. And we're trying to find ways to get as many people in the program for as little cost as possible to them.
Well, if people are interested in doing that right now, how can they contact you? Just Clayoquot Biosphere Trust, come see you.
Yeah,
most folks know you.
Yeah, most folks know me. Pop by the office. We are hosting an information session in July, which will be open to the public at the office. I'll get that at the next break and let you know the time, and come in and learn. But also just ask around, because you probably know an alumni, and they're going to be better to tell you about the program than me, because that's how you learn.
That's a great segue.
Yeah.
Alumni, Jesse.
That is me.
Let's start at the very beginning. Why did you choose to do it?
I think for me, it when I partook in the course or the program, it came at a time for me where I was actually the HR manager at Pacific Sands, and it came at a time for me where I was pretty young and eager and really hungry for development and opportunity. So I kind of came at it with pretty open arms and kind of just eager to learn, eager to expose myself and develop myself professionally and personally. It was presented to me by my management team to be involved at Pacific Sands, and I took it, and I am super, super happy that it fell in my lap like that.
What are some of the things that, when looking back, that you still are utilizing in your quiver of tools?
Yeah, I would say is pretty diverse, to be honest. Obviously network, as we kind of touched on, is fantastic. Friendships and relationships that I developed in that program, I still, I see at board meetings, I see at different circles, I see just within the community and friendships and things like that. So networking has been a huge part of it for me. Another great thing for me was, again, I think that for me, a lot of the journey for a lot of workers in the area that kind of land with a backpack and a surfboard, and then they want to kind of make a life out here. It's a great way to expose yourself to the community. I think it's pretty easy to get stuck in your own little world, particularly in the resort worlds. You can get pretty fixated in this little kind of mini environment. But for me, being exposed to the greater community, to people, to the nonprofit sectors, to those kinds of things. So that kind of exposure for me has been, crucial, and I think has really, supported me and assisted me in my other journeys on, boards at Tourism Tofino or things like that, right? So that has been a huge takeaway for me. And then I think, I learned a lot in the course about maintaining and managing a safe environment. Was really, really an interesting takeaway, I think, for me, and something that I hope that I apply, every day, at Ocean Village, and creating an environment where our staff can feel comfortable, safe, and confident.
Allowed to speak their mind
exactly,
and contribute in a good way without fear of repercussion.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that was a really surprising takeaway for me.
Okay. What about how do you frame that in leadership? I mean, I hear there's a confidence I think that you probably gained going through the program. What other kind of leadership takeaways were there?
Yeah, I mean, you're exposed to a diverse range of professionals, community leaders. You know, you go to the nations and you meet some pretty gosh darn amazing people. And I think just, you know, kind of paying attention and watching and listening and seeing how, you know, those leaders within their communities or within their organizations carry themselves, the way that they present it, you know, again, working closely with Ricardo and his ability to create those environments and speak to you honestly and genuinely.
Yeah.
I think that was, you know, kind of just watching and listening. And then again, at the same time, then you have the group kind of projects and those kinds of things where then I feel like I was then able to kind of watch, listen, pay attention, and then kind of turn around and apply it in the kind of classroom kind of projects or seminars or kind of work.
Was there a lot of homework?
There was a little bit for sure. Yeah. I think you know, there's definitely it's a commitment for sure. But I think, you know, it's the same as any program, right? You get what you get out what you put in.
I think it starts in September this coming year. And my understanding is, can you tell us a bit about the time frame so people can understand what the commitment is a bit?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that maybe Brooke
might be
able to speak to that maybe a little bit more clear vision, as I'm sure that it's changed since I, you know, and developed since I took it or since I participated about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But for me, the journey really was, you know, starting off and getting to know yourself, getting to know the people, you know, the other participants in the cohort. Is huge. Again, developing that relationship, that kind of trust is huge. And then you start diving into, you know, your personal journey and your development and start, I think, identifying what you personally want to take away.
Had you done any personal work like that before?
Not, I would say, I mean, again, I definitely have, been involved in university courses that may be somewhat similar. You know, I went to, the University of Victoria, and took some courses like that. Always kind of paying attention and listening, obviously seminars and things that are being put on through CBT. But I don't think in that kind of depth, I would say. Right. It's you definitely do a deep plunge.
And it's over a year-long
course, right?
I was going to say, it's a year-long course.
Yeah,
that's the part
you definitely get a nice, it's not just this quick little snap pulse, right? It is a really nice, long kind of journey. So it allows you to kind of slowly develop those ideas
and integrate it all while you're living it. So I hear the business parts. I hear a lot of personal stuff. So it's all encompassing. How many people were in your cadre?
I think there was about 18 or so, or just under 20.
All ages?
Yeah, you name it, and from all walks of life. That's
a pretty cool part of the
community. Exactly, like I say, that's what that exposure element. So not just exposure to the community. You know, you visit, you know, the different kind of communities in the area. But again, like I say, just sitting around that cohort and looking at, you know, the people that were in that room, it was very diverse, and so those conversations become very, very interesting.
Right. Would you recommend it to anybody?
Yeah, you name it.
Yeah.
Again, so people, you know, I think that a lot of time within this, you know, there might be people that consider themselves leader that feel like, oh, they might not have some takeaways, or people that might think that they're too young in their journey and they're not leaders yet. But I would say, again, that's like the beauty of the fusion of it, is that you can get people that are, you know, maybe, you know, a little bit more experienced in their journey in leadership within the community or within an organization. But then again, for anyone, even if you don't feel like you are at all, again, I think that that exposure is huge, and you know, both of those people have a tremendous amount to take away from the program.
Speaking for myself, I find if I ever have the thought, I think I got this, that means I need to make sure that I need to make sure I don't fall on my face, because I have a lot to learn.
Turn back and double check, right?
So let's talk about the timing of the course so people can understand what the commitment is.
Yeah, so it's a 10-month program, and we start with an orientation, and we just always want to remind people this is adult learning. So you're going to get out of the program what you put into it, and that's really, really important. So if you're committing to this, commit to it full-heartedly, because that's when you'll get the best. So we always start with an opening retreat. So it's an overnight. And that's where we find we really make these connections with your cohort and the fellow people in your program. So over the years, we've started in a house it. And we've been welcomed and coached by Dave Frank at those sessions. And, you know, as he always says, we start in the canoe together. And so that's sort of how we frame the beginning of the program. And then it's 1 day per month on a Friday, usually the last Friday of the month, in taking you through till May, and then graduation is in June. We do take a break in December, but you're still expected to work. So, because you're at that point, you're into your community-led project. And so, but we know a lot of people do go away, or December can be a really busy time. So we do take a break in December. And then it's, as I said, 1 course day a month, and all sorts of varying subjects. So the transformational role of leadership, navigating the community's path, connecting through communication. That's a favorite for a lot of people. Public speaking, and that one really has changed people and followed up. And so lots of cool things. And what we always try and do is, when you do your application, there's a question why you're doing the program. So I'll design the program with what each individual wants to get out of it. So we'll take that into account when we look at our facilitators and our speakers. So we always do one local leader from each community, and then we try and bring in experts. And so they could be from the region, and sometimes they're from, VIU, or we've had Simon Fraser University, or just like real champions that we bring in. And so you get a whole array of teachers throughout the program. And then you have me as a base to kind of coordinate, go over logistics, and get you to where you need to be, and push you along the way to make sure you're leaning into the program.
I would imagine people within the program are with agreement, pushing each other as well to develop. Like, hey, come on, you got this. Let's.
Yeah, you bet. I again, the support from the the cohort, and then you do. I don't know if we're still doing it, but again, you get partnered up with the kind of learning kind of partners, and again, like I was very fortunate. Michelle Hall was mine, and
that's great.
And so again, we've developed a really strong relationship from there. And so again, like I say, I think that we still continue to support each other in that lens to this day.
That's great.
Yeah, we still do dyads. It's like a key to the program. So you'll pair it up. So I look at everyone's learning, and then I try and say who's going to push that person the most, and who's going to hold them accountable. And so that's how we run the program.
Tell me about the community-led projects. That's kind of exciting. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, the community-led projects over the years have been anything from one of the teams produced a guide to having a baby on the West Coast when we stopped having births here. And so they did a resource guide. And last year, one of the teams updated the Coastal Family Resource Coalition webpage because all the numbers were out of date. And then, Jesse, what did your team do?
We did Wheels for Wellness. Yeah, so we worked at bringing Wheels for Wellness, an organization out here to support kind of communities able to get to their medical appointments.
And does that still exist, or was it for a short period of time?
I believe it does. It's still moving and grooving, yeah.
Yeah, it's morphed into, with my health hat on, it has morphed into Island Health has taken on that contract.
Okay.
But I would say that was a great project, and I think it was successful on the coast here for over 5 years, and just morphed this year, and Island Health is now running that program.
So are there usually around 18 people in the cohort? It goes up and down, I'm assuming?
Yeah, we'll take up to 20 and as little as 15.
So over the course of 11 years,
yes,
there have been 20 community-led projects a year, or are people working in teams?
Teams, five people per team. So usually 3 community projects. And a lot of them, Cameron, they don't succeed. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the projects, but the projects are all learning. You're learning to work with people from different communities, which is great. Because if you're a manager at a local resort and you've never worked with someone from a community, you don't know the protocol when there's a passing, or you don't know these things. And so what it does is it really creates the community of safety that Jesse mentioned. And so sometimes things don't go as planned, but that's part of the learning. And I would say that's a highlight for many people in the program, is these connections. And so maybe you didn't learn, your project didn't succeed, but you public spoke, or maybe you did your first press release, or maybe, we try and get people into a role that is not something they normally do.
Right.
Yeah.
Big impacts, though.
Big impacts, yep.
That's great. And that's probably just one of them, which we'll probably get to. We've kind of talked about how it's funded. I hear a bunch of there are overnights, there are stays. Are there additional costs that you might not be expecting? Is everything covered with the...
Everything's covered, yeah. So we do aim to provide lunch at every session as well.
And so when you say every Friday, for example, I work on Friday. Yeah. Once a month, I would need to prepare myself to... What time does it begin and when does it end on the Fridays?
9 to 5.
So, and generally, where does it take place? All over.
All over, yeah. So we start in a Howsett, then usually we'll go to the other end of the peninsula. So we'll either be in Makoa or Ucluelet. Then next we'll do Tofino, then we'll do Clayoquot, then we'll do Hitatsu. We do try and always get to Hot Springs too, but that one's pretty pricey, so we don't always make it to Heshquit, but it is always a goal of ours. Did your cohort go to Heshquit?
We did, yeah. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. Yeah.
And did you stay over? Or
we did, yeah.
Was it when the Enchanter was there? Where
no, it wasn't. We just kind of actually got a little space and all set up some tents and had a little camp out.
That's pretty fun. Pretty like when do you do that with 20 people in your life?
Exactly.
When you get to a certain point.
Not
much, right?
It was amazing. Again, like I say, there's that in-room learning, but then there's all that kind of network and bonding and kind of that learning that happens not just in the classroom, right? It's about that, even just coordinating those events and getting there and, getting on the boat and that time spent on the boat, right, it's all that little stuff on the side as well.
Yeah. And I hope this is all right to say. You sit on the board now.
I do, yes.
Is it morphing? Is there lots of room for this program to keep growing and expanding?
I think for sure. Yeah. Again, constantly kind of reviewing, Brooke's been amazing at spearheading that and identifying kind of the challenges and opportunities within that. And again, constantly learning and developing our own internal leadership within it. And again, kind of bringing in different voices and different ideas and different perspectives. And so, yeah, I would say it's definitely morphing and changing, but I would definitely say for the better as well.
That's great. I have obviously could ask a million questions. I want to kind of stay focused so I don't go too far off. Let's talk about the Community Prosperity Fund.
Yeah, so the BC government created the Nonprofit Day, and they had $25 million that they have dispersed through community foundations throughout British Columbia. And the CBT received $125,000 that is open currently until June 24th for granting. The intent of this program is for poverty reduction and social inclusion. So we really, really want this program to have a big impact. Reading our current vital signs report, too many people in our community are hungry. Too many people in our community are not getting the services and supports they need, transportation, the boat costs. So this is not open to any organization that already receives money from the province, such as hospitals or schools. So this would be open to, the Food Bank, West Coast Community Resource Society, organizations that are providing support for individuals within the community.
When you say the community,
yes.
What does that mean? The West Coast?
We are this Clayoquot Biosphere Trust. Our region goes from Heshquit to Makoa and everywhere in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a big base.
It's a big base.
Yeah. So hopefully, are people taking enough advantage of this? Do you think?
No, I think let's keep spreading the word. And I also want to say I am actively looking for committee members. So what the CBT always likes to strive ourselves on is we don't make the decisions on any of our granting. It is all done by volunteer community areas because they're experts in their communities. Right. So if you're interested in helping us review the proposals, it will be over the summer. And I know that people get really busy, but I think these are going to be really worthwhile projects. I did go to the coalition meeting. It's in all the newsletters, but I just really want to keep spreading the word. I think this is a great opportunity. So this could be one $90,000 grant. This could be $10,000 grant. They told us to tell people to apply for what they want.
And could you give us some examples if someone's listening thinking, what would I even do?
Yeah, what would I even do? So some examples. I don't want to say too much. The food bank, providing. Right now, we have the food bank on the edge in Ucluelet, and they're doing a great expansion, and they're super busy. But they are located in Ucluelet. Yeah. Currently, Tofino doesn't have its own food bank. There's a gap.
What about Fish and Loaves? Or do you mean they don't have a specific place to be physically?
Correct, yeah.
And store everything? It's a lot of work for them to be moving in and out of the Legion, right?
Yeah, and you can cover coordination costs with this, which is rare. Right. So this can actually cover staff time. Another program could be youth supports because our youth are struggling. It could be youth recreation. It could be a safe space for youth to go. Food security, all those sorts of things are all great projects. And honestly, honestly, just give me a call. We can talk through the different ideas. We want to build on this program and get the applications in. You will go to our website, and then you're going to click on it, and it's going to take you to a portal that's for Community Foundations of Canada. So don't be shocked. That's how all the applications are going through.
I was flipping around this morning, as I always like to read a bit about what's going on before I come in, and I can't find it because I wasn't expecting that part of the conversation. But Chris and Mako are on a journey right now. You know about that?
What's their journey?
Well,
Tell me.
They're at something for the food bank. Yeah, I just had it up. But yeah, they're working on it, making sure that people know more about it, and they're trying to find funding. And Mako wrote quite a nice little blurb about how hard it is to get funding for it and how hard Chris has worked over all these years to make it happen.
Okay, Mako or Chris, give me a call. And yeah, applications are open.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I have to remember that. They're away. They're still at this.
They're at the conference.
Whatever
so they're not
conference is.
listening right now. Okay.
No.
Someone relay the message.
Believe it or not, they're
Yeah.
not listening. But Chris, and this year,
Yeah.
I'm jumping around. I want to do, you know how CBC does the big food drives, and I want to do that. We'll do a huge one for
let's do
our
it.
West Coast community. So maybe there's a grant there. I don't know why we need one, the live band or me sitting here for 20 hours, but we'll raise
Yeah,
money and food.
And if we even just need a little bit for that, Cam, we've got the neighborhood small grants opening in the fall. That
That's
would
great.
be like $500 covered the band and some snacks.
Yeah, you'll help.
Yeah, you bet.
See, this is how it goes. This is the connections part of it. Even the Legion grand opening, right? When we're
So
sitting
fun.
around the table and all these people just say, "Hey, let's make a phone call and make this happen," and what a wonderful expression of community, right?
Yeah.
How can people apply?
You go to the
Same thing?
Yeah, Clayoquot Biosphere Trust website and click under grants, and that'll take you there. And same with LVI, you click under initiatives and then apply now. But if that's a barrier, I've got printed applications at the office if you just want to write it by hand, because some people prefer that.
Yep. Let's talk about the AGM.
AGM is
June 20th at 10 a.m. on Zoom. You can link to register on the website. Hey, I handled that well.
Thanks, Cameron. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And what can people look forward to then? Why would people be interested in coming or listening or zooming in?
I think the AGM is a great time for people to see, a quick snapshot of the health of the organization, take part and see if there's an opportunity where there's a potential collaboration with the Clayoquot Biosphere Trust. We've invited a ton of our community partners, the Multiplex Society, the Warriors program. It's just another opportunity for networking. And the more we, gather, we can solve complex problems if we're in the room together more as a group rather than as a bunch of individuals separately.
There you go. Kind of the point of Leadership Vancouver Island, right?
Nailed it.
Back to that. Would you like to leave us with any thoughts, Jesse? An encouragement, a call to action?
Yeah, again, like I say, if you're listening or if you know of someone that's interested, again, I would definitely suggest checking it out. Like I say, to hammer that home, no matter where you are in your journey, again, I think that there's a lot to take from the program. So
Great.
If you have the chance, do it.
How about you, Brooke?
Yep, I would just say take the opportunity to do some work for yourself. You deserve it.
That's great. A lovely way to end. Thank you both for making time to come in. I hope that you are hearing that call to action and think about it a bit. It's a big commitment, but it's a great commitment, and it's a commitment to yourself, which then will ripple out and affect a whole bunch of other people in a good way, just like our guests do today. Stay tuned. I'm going to be ridiculous all day.